Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's back. We're ready to go. The second ever VSPEED Invitational, and here tonight with 43 cars. We're ready to go in the Irish Hills of Michigan, Michigan International Speedway, live here tonight. 2025 VSPEED Invitational, presented by Watkins and Roland Costumes. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Logan Threlkeld, and our race control with Cody Anderson and Benjamin Richards up in the top tower. Well, it's been a long time coming. It's been a year since we've done this format of tournament-style racing in a little bit different format than we had last year. Last year, we had two different splits for the first two races. This time around, it's a little bit different. We're going to go single split, but nonetheless, it's still 4 races over 2 days on the schedule. Logan, I'm excited. I hope you are as well.
It's going to be a freaking blast, Bradley. I'm so happy to be up here in the booth with you this year. Last year, taking part on track. This year, I just felt like calling the race was more my style, and I couldn't be more excited to be here on this fine Friday night.
Michigan and Watkins Glen, the first on the docket here for round number 1. 36 to 43, we're at our max. Bonus points for the top 5. Wins, poles, fastest laps, and most laps led will all count towards that points total as we move on to Watkins Glen. And it's kind of like a win in your end situation. I think if you win, you'll just mathematically have enough points to guarantee yourself a good spot. But when you go off of a tournament style format and you get these poles, you get these victories, the main thing is these guys are going to get money back. And so when you get that top qualifying spot, that's money in the bank. You get the victory, that's money in the bank. You could almost pay for your entry fee just by having a good night here tonight.
Yeah, that you could. That's the beautiful thing about this layout. And you see there too, not only the money on the line being a big thing, but bonus points to get to that championship contention in the next round tomorrow night. So there's a lot on the line here in the first round. Some of these drivers, you know, they might try to play it safe and just finish out the race, but other drivers, there's a lot of heavy hitters in the middle of this field to start this out. So I would expect to see all-out aggression as we only have the 55 laps here tonight. But Michigan International Speedway, located up here in Brooklyn, Michigan, a perfect 2-mile oval here. 18 degrees of banking in the corners, 10 degrees of banking across that front tri-oval, and it was opened up October 13th of 1968. And what a great setting to kick off round 1.
Sister track to the, well, recently demolished Auto Club. Some of my favorite racing happens at tracks like this. Those long sweeping corners. Logan, you can attest to this. This racetrack is notorious for multi-groove racing and pack style racing. You're going to see a lot of different lines to get around this place. There's no wrong way to do it, except for when you hit that turn 4 wall. And we're going to see that as well, where drivers will come out 2 or 3 wide and push up the racetrack.
Not only is it going to be the pressure of being 2 or 3 wide, these cars are a lot to handle out here, Bradley. I don't know if you got an opportunity to hop in one of the practice sessions before the races, but it was hectic out there, but really good racing overall. So I would expect to see quite the show tonight.
I bought the car about 2 hours before the broadcast. Race length 55 laps, pit road speed limit 55 as well. They're going to go around 30 laps, probably closer to 28 on fuel. So 4 tire sets available. That's 3 over the wall, 1 on the car, 2 green, white checkered attempts, and 80% fuel in these 2003 era stock cars. The new Gen 4 out here on the racetrack. And with that, it's time to bring the grid up on your screen. Starting on the top spot here tonight, James Lehman in the number 50 with a 39.346. He's going to win that pole by about half of a tenth. Congratulations to James Lehman on our second ever VSPEED Invitational, and that pole award goes to him. Justin Michael will start to his outside. Row number 2 belongs to Braxton DeWeese. Carter Lenz in the 66 starting in 4th. Row number 3 belongs to Dakota Floyd with Bridger Olson in 6th position. Then you have Matt Gagnon, Hunter Sr. in 8th spot. And rounding out that top 10, it's the guy that won it last year. the fast banana machine, Aaron Smith, and then you have Chad Klinger in the 09.
And behind our top 10, we're going to start out with the 72 of Greg Mull, starting out in 11th with the 52 of Chris Justice to his outside. 13th will be the 44 of Philip Brewer next to the 36 of Keith Maiato. 15th will belong to Chris French in the 53 next to the 77 of Chris Samard. Behind them in 17th, this is 63 of Max Cost in the 06 of Nick Papiak. 19th belongs to the 48 of Jeff Wright, and VSPEED's very own, the 17 of Lucas Lyons.
We're going to be saying that about Jeff Wright here soon enough. Michael Sturgill, he's going to start in 21st position. Ray Massey, Chris Rude spotting for him up there in the tower. You have Morgan Cook. There's another VSPEED guy that's going to start mid-pack. Christopher Hodges going to start 24th. 25th is going to go to Adam Baker, the owner of VSPEED, co-owner in the number 7. Levi Cox will start 26th position. Kyle Adams, that's MRL represented there in the number 42. Chris Nail in 28th position. And your top 30, Jared Skinner, Brian Hennings from VRX.
A new name to me will start out in 31st. It's the 80 of Chris Braley next to the 28 of Dustin Lewis in 32nd. Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27 starts out in 33rd next to the 16 of Teresa Spiker. The 12 of Caleb Weekly takes up the 35th starting position next to the 13 of Brent Allen. Jordan Brockle in the 84 starts out in 37th next to the 10 of Greg Spiker. And that will be our 38-car field on the night. Benjamin Richards race control alongside Cody Anderson.
So here we go for 55 laps, round number 1, race number 1, and James Lehman is going to lead them off. We're actually going to delay the green one more time. We're going to pace one more time around, so it's a perfect opportunity here, Logan. If we're going to talk about something, let's ask anybody here in the chat, who's your pick? We've got a lot of different leagues represented here tonight. You already asked the question, what league is going to win here in the Invitational, the second ever? But I have to say right now, based off of what I've seen with the qualifying and some of the favorites that we had last season, this is a new car. These are new names. We haven't seen these guys on the racetrack. We've picked up a lot of new leagues. So I'm going to go ahead and make my pick, and I'm going to take the number... Ooh, man, this is a tough one. I'm going to take the number 50 of James Lehman. I think he can get it done here tonight. I've seen him get around at Michigan. Starting on the pole, the 50 car is my pick.
The 50 car being very fast in practice, obviously here in qualifying as well. Braxton DeWeese is in a great spot. I'm inclined to pick that number 15 starting out in third there. But overall, I think I'm going to have to go with the guy that makes tutorials on how to make this car go fast at just about any single racetrack on the service. That is going to be that number 70 of Aaron Smith, the banana machine. I think he's going to take it back to back.
We're going to find out who is right about it in just a moment's time. Didn't have those driver cameras working. We're going to try to resolve that issue in just a second, but here we go for 55 laps. Pace truck out of the way. And here we go. James Lehman on the loud pedal into that restart zone. And here we go for round 1, race 1 at Michigan.
Oh, the 36 gets spun around on the infield.
That's Keith Maiato. And we got another car on top of that. I think it was Philip Brewer.
It looks like even more getting collected. I think that's the 53 of Chris French up ahead, driving down the exit of pit road. Man, Bradley, I saw some pretty wild stuff going on that first lap there. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. I saw Jeff Wright send it on the bottom of a 5-wide situation in turn 3.
Here's a look at the VSPEED instant replay. There's the 5 wide. There's Sturgill. Yep, I see what you're talking about.
How that didn't end up being something is beyond me, but here's where it happens. It's that 36 of Mayato up on the high line, 44 of Philip Brewer, just getting to that left rear. That collects everybody that was involved in that 5 wide. Jeff Wright, the only one making it out unscathed.
And so you saw the 44 there. He's actually the one that kind of gets up into Keith Mayato. But if you wanted to be fair, they're 4 wide. I mean, that is a tough situation to be in. I know this track is wide, but they're almost 5 wide right there. So there's just nowhere to go. There's actually a car peeling down pit road unintentionally, and Sturgill, that's the 53 machine there of Chris French. I think these cars can be repaired, but man, that's a tough break for, lap 1. Everybody here is trying to get the race underway, and maybe the anticipation of the Invitational already got to these guys. That's mid-pack for you.
Well, it's been a year, Bradley. I don't know about you, but I've been itching for this to come back. It's been months in progress to get to this point. A lot of planning behind the scenes, and it's a waiting game. And race car drivers not typically known for being the most patient.
Well, on top of that, a lot of things happening in the background prior to this. We had a big turnout for the race for 8 for Seth Hatchell, and the donations and the people that supported him and VSPEED, and it was awesome to see how much support we had coming into that. And then we come here with Walking and Rolling Costumes. So Walking and Rolling Costumes was the main title sponsor last season. We'd like to give back to them. The link is in the description if you would like to donate directly to them, but portions of the proceeds of this event will also go out to Walking and Rolling Costumes. And I think the last that we saw was just under $100. Of course, we're going to put on another 25 cents for every subscriber that comes in to our broadcast. We're going to donate to that. So send this link out. Tell them to subscribe. Yeah, we're going to do it. I promise you. We'll make sure that all the receipts are shown and everything's transparent here. But again, if you would like to donate directly to Walking and Rolling Costumes, cosplay and Halloween costumes for children with disabilities. And we'll be talking to Chris Rude here in the transition between Watkins Glen for that round 1, race 2. It's going to be eventful, but again, that QR code will take you directly to that. Also a link in the description. We're going to rack them back up here. Looks like the lights are off on the pace truck, and let's try it again. James Lehman held on to that top spot. He led lap number 1 under green. And as we came out of turn 4, 4-car incident. These next-gen, well, new generation. I'm calling them next-gen because this is the next generation of what I think NASCAR is going to go back to. They need more horsepower. This is when NASCAR was kind of at its peak, just prior to, that changeover to safety and all the things they did with the COT. But this car, man, it kind of defined what the sport was.
I have to wholeheartedly agree with you there. Being born in the late 90s, this is what I grew up watching. So this body style of car, all the familiar paint schemes that you see people running out here, especially, one immediately catching my eye is that 48 of Jeff Wright. Of course, the Jimmy Johnson throwback. I don't think I've ever seen him in a different car. We've got a Tony Stewart throwback in here as well. A lot of awesome paint jobs out here in the field that represent what this era was about.
And some one-offs, some custom schemes. We get plenty of looks at these drivers, and I'm Just happy Trading Paints decided to cooperate tonight, you know, making sure that we get all these cars. Let's try it one more time, as we already have a problem with the 57 car. I'm not even sure what this is, but the 57 had a connection issue. I don't even know what to say other than the 57 right now. Dakota Floyd did not see the green. He might not have even have seen the cars in front of him, but we just had 2 cars taken out, and we're extending this caution. We might have a busy night here, Logan.
It's shaping up to be one already. I am speechless as to what happened there. I'd love to get this back here on a VSPEED instant replay, break it down a little bit, because I don't think that the green flag was quite in the air yet. They still had quite a ways to go before that Geico restart zone pops up. James Lehman was in control there on the bottom line. Braxton Louise on the outside. You see here the 57 of Floyd moving up the track. Starts to come back down, and yeah, just I'm not sure what happened at all. He never lifted, and then he disappeared.
We lost
That is
a lot
certainly
of
a
cars
issue.
back here, yeah. We lost a lot of cars back here in the back of the field.
It's a
All right.
parking lot.
Well, I can tell you this. It just made our jobs really busy, so we're going to take a quick commercial break here on VSPEED. We're not embarrassed. We know that this happens here on iRacing. It has been a problem in the past, so we're going to go get this sorted and see what we can do to help these guys out. You are watching the second ever Invitational Series. We'll be right back.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
With Jonathan Parker, he locks it up in the end of stage 1. Jonathan Parker, our season 5 champion. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Walking and rolling costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back here to Michigan, where we've had to delay the green a couple of times to get some of these drivers after that connection issue back up to par, but now we're back under green flag. Let's see what we can do. 2025 Invitational has been eventful already.
Yeah, what a way to start it off. Caution at the end of lap 1 and then trying to get it restarted. Just mayhem ensued. Go to Floyd reporting issues with his screen. That will certainly do it. You can't see anything. You don't quite know where to go. Can't really fault him for it. Unfortunate circumstances, but that was the reason for the delay. Try to let these drivers get as much damage repaired as possible before we got back to green flag conditions. And here we are with the battle at the middle of the pack right now, right behind that 74 of Brian Hennings on board with Christopher Hodges running 13th. He's going to be able to work around Ray Massey that's stuck down on the bottom line. And here is a good view of just how many lines can be used, because we are nearly 4 wide in this middle of the pack.
All kinds of different lines to get around this place. You saw Hennings get a little bit loose. There's cars getting loose in the background as well. All the way down on the bottom of the racetrack is the 10 of Greg Spiker. This is around the 29th position. He'll dive down to the inside again through 3 and 4.
So 3 tire sets available over the wall tonight, Bradley. How do you think that's going to come into play? Oh, before we get to that, take a look a couple spots behind. That was nearly 4 wide coming across the start finish. It's going to be 3 wide down into turns 1 and 2. Sorts itself out
24 on the apron. I don't know if I like it. He's going to save it.
Getting hairy back here.
I'm trying to find the actual number. I know that's Kyle Adams in that machine. He's actually the 42 labeled. But man, he was bad loose there through 3 and 4. He was able to hold on to it somehow.
Here's that immense speed that these Gen 4 cars produce, nearly 110 miles an hour into turn 1. That is absolutely screaming, considering the next gens, I believe, top out at about 192 across the front stretch here.
Yeah, 210, that's fast. A little block here from the 84. I think that was Jordan Brockhill.
Yeah, Jordan Brockhill. I don't know. It looked like he was just a little bit loose, but I think that's pretty well everybody on the exit of turn 2 right now, except for your leader, James Lehman, still in control of the field. Justin Michael in the 87 trying to make up some ground. Greg Ball running in 3rd in the 72. A little bit of contact there with the wall on the entrance of turn 1. And look at this. Jeff Wright started back in 19th, and he's worked his way up after narrowly avoiding that incident that caused our first caution. He's up 15 spots already.
On the move for the 48 machine, already looking to the inside of Greg Mull. In the 3rd spot, looking for the top 3. There's the 87 of Justin Michael, who's held it up. Looking here at the top 3 positions. Trying to break that draft as James Lehman drops to the bottom of the racetrack. On board with the 50 machine. Nothing in front of him. Clean air, looking good.
And that's exactly what you want for this car. It does not like dirty air, let me tell you. It is a massive, massive issue to start handling this thing in a longer green flag run. Get some wear on the tires and dirty air on the nose. It's detrimental.
Eye on the track, eye on the drivers. There's on board with James Lehman. Holding on to it so far. Seeing some 2 and 3 wide behind him, though.
Exactly what you want to see in the rear view as the leader. Jeff Wright trying to complete this move on the inside of Greg Mall. Mall is going to battle back with more speed on that high line. Nearly makes contact with the wall. And there goes the 48 to get right back in behind for that slipstream. I would say.
Look back here.
My Lord, 3 wide down into turn 3.
It is utter chaos back here as they continue the 4 wide. 54 of Levi Cox, 57 of Dakota Floyd up on the outside. The 14, they're going to hold on to it for now.
Loose in the middle, but able to keep it off the car on the bottom. Bradley, this is a hornet's nest if I've ever seen one. We have, what is this, about 12 cars all right here battling for, well, pretty well one position.
Yep. Michael Sturgill in the middle of it, one of those cars that had to get damage repaired. This will right on board with him. And I think I posted it in the chat earlier. Sleeves are for nerds. There's Sturgill in the cutoffs and the gloves, holding it down middle line. Just trying to keep clean air on the front of this number 3, 57 of Floyd to the outside. This goes back to that issue. Well, we kind of brushed on it there for a moment. But we've seen this before, and iRacing has come a long way. But unfortunately, for when a screen goes blank, it's not so much like the internet going blank. And so you saw back there just blinking for a moment. That was the Wrangler machine. But when your screen goes black, you can't see anybody, and you're still in the session. So you're still going to make contact with everyone. And I remember a time, Logan, where when we were having connection issues, cars would still have contact even though they weren't technically in the race anymore, and they would drive through the whole field and destroy them.
Yeah, luckily, I believe that has been fixed in recent updates, because I had seen that a time or two completely wipe out, 10, 15 drivers at times. And it is not fun to be a part of. I tell you what is fun to be a part of, this battle right here. Levi Cox still under fire, trying to make up some ground. It looks like he's got a slight advantage over Brent Allen in the 13 on the high line. And up here, it's a battle for the lead. Justin Michael has gotten to the inside of James Lehman. Michael shoots back behind. Lehman comes down to the bottom of the track, trying to break that draft still. 87, he had an opportunity, wasn't able to capitalize, but he knows he has the speed to do it.
87 was bad fast that last time by. He was about a 10th faster than James Lehman. But that outside exit for the 50 car, he was able to hold on to the top spot. And here you're seeing last Invitational winner overall in the points, Aaron Smith in the number 70, slowly creeping up through this field. Started back in 9th and works his way into the top 5. He ran the high line there through 3 and 4. He'll get around Jeff Wright and now work on Greg Mall.
Trying to figure out which lane will be faster. You see Aaron Smith diving down to the bottom ahead of Jeff Wright, and then shoots right back up to the top behind Greg Mall. I don't know, the strategy still has a chance to be a big factor in this race too, Bradley. Although we had those extended cautions, we may have pushed back that fuel window to somewhere in the mid-30s, maybe late 30s in the lap counter, so expect to see that instead of around lap 28 or 30.
To the outside of Jeff right now, we have Adam Baker, VSPEED's owner. He's going to go high out of turn 4 and pick up to the 7th position rather. Baker on the move. Jared Skinner, the next one in line. How about that? Haven't seen Adam Baker on the racetrack in a broadcast in a minute. I know you cover BTDY, so you know all about it. Man, it's a hornet's nest outside of this top 5, though. This top 10 even. You go back here to Chris Nail in the number 3 of Sturgill. It is still side by side from 10th on back.
That it is Chris Nail in that 88 machine. Another iconic paint job. Throwback to Dale Jr. on that one. And it's ripping right now. He's using that high line to his advantage, and it's working out. Tucked in right behind Levi Cox, picking up that draft, getting as much speed as he can across the tri-oval section. And then you see he's up about a half car length out of the lane from Levi Cox, trying to get as little bit of clean air on the nose as he can.
So I think it was a good call there to extend that caution and get these guys some repairs. And everybody in the chat, we appreciate you on the delay of sticking with us. Again, you can check out the description and that link. I'll put the QR code up one more time here for Walking and Rolling Costumes. Again, the proceeds that you guys donate direct to them, and a portion of what we made here in this event will go to them, and we would love nothing more than to raise over $100. And you saw there in the commercials, it's a great cause. Walking and Rolling Costumes, of course, one of the main sponsors over at Saturday Night Racing League. They've been good to us. Juicy Spider Studios, Keo, and everybody in between has been great here on VSPEED, and we'll always shout those guys out all the way to the end.
That we will, and of course the other multiple leagues being represented here tonight. I know we've got some drivers from the Sim Racer Hub Challenge Series. We've got drivers from Racing Revolution. Contact with the wall. I think that was the 24 of Kyle Adams there.
I don't know if he made contact or if he got loose on the entry. I want to back this up. Watch him here on the outside. Have the 28 of Dustin Lewis in front of him. Yeah, he did make contact with the wall. Safer barrier creeped up on him.
There is a little bit of that fence that kind of sticks out a little bit further, it feels like, whenever I was turning laps here at Michigan earlier. And yeah, it caught the right rear a couple times, but he wasn't quite to that point. A little bit earlier than the spot that I was noticing. Maybe just floated up a little bit too high, trying to get as much of an arc down into turn 1 as he could.
Adams running in the 19th position. Looks like the right front a little bit caved in on that machine, but still up to speed. And then it's back up here with Chris Nail in the 88 machine. Having a little bit of problems keeping up with these guys. It's Chris Nail technically in the number 49 on my telemetry. Some of these guys running custom numbers. Keeping up with it the best we can.
It's not easy whenever the numbers don't match, but we'll make it work here. We've got 4 total races this weekend to get used to it. Not expect many of these drivers to be changing paint schemes in between races, but you never know. We might have 1 or 2 that decides to throw a curveball our way.
So Aaron Smith does find his way into the top 3. Bridger Olson just behind him in the number 67. A lot of Chevrolets out here tonight. See if we can find a throwback Ford paint scheme. Let's look through this field. There's one on the outside. I believe that's a Dale Jarrett paint, driven by Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27.
There it is. That's one of our Racing Revolution representatives here tonight. You see it on the hood, that red and white RR. He's going to get some good momentum, but loose on the outside of Ray Massey. That nearly could have been something there. Does a good job collecting it back up. Keeps it off the wall and off the car on the inside.
Aaron Smith got around for second position. Now sets his sights on the lead. 50 of James Lehman, my pick here tonight. Logan, do you think it was a good one? I don't know. I mean, it's starting to fade out a little bit here, but we are approaching green flag pit stops.
Well, if you think about it here, Bradley, your pick sitting number 1, my pick sitting number 2. You know, it's I think we might have nailed it on this one.
So that window right around this time that these drivers have come down again, we extended the caution. So I think these guys could probably go 33 or 34 laps on the fuel this time. And now you got to wonder, when do they split this run? If they can extend this out, maybe they would short pit a little bit compared to what they would have done at the beginning of the race. We check in on some of the guys that were involved in the beginning of this race where issues popped up. We're looking back here with the 09 of Chad Klinger. He still has a little bit of damage on this machine. We tried our best, though. And apologies to anybody that got involved in that. But the 09 of Chad Klinger, 2 laps down here, running back in the 37th position. There was a few other drivers that were involved in that, as well as a car just dropped down in front of him. I think that was Carter Lenz. Has a little bit of damage as well. And Dakota Floyd looks like he's going to peel down pit road this time by.
Just to bring up that situation there with the 66 of Lenz, I noticed one thing too. If you make contact with the wall on the backstretch, it acts very, very weird with this car. I don't know if it's the aerodynamics or, you know, the way this car is staggered, but it wants to bounce off like it's a bouncy ball. And it's a very, very odd feeling, as now the 16 of Teresa Spiker will bring it down pit road as well. So there's our first 2 takers for a top off on fuel and new Goodyear tires.
Watching this battle for the lead, our 2 picks here with the 50 and the 70. Lehman on the bottom. Might use this 53 car as some dirty air. He's going to wash up the racetrack. He's sideways, but he holds on to it.
Chris French, that lap car there with no front bumper. He's going to keep it high on the track, force these lead lap cars to the bottom. That doesn't help the entry for James Lehman. It kind of helps out Aaron Smith. Lehman loose. Smith will have room to slide up in front, but he's going to keep it on the bottom. Nearly, he is on the apron coming across that start-finish line. But he still has just enough room. He's not going to take advantage of using that outside line to enter in turn 1. Keeps it middle of the track and hugs that bottom as Lehman takes it all the way up to that 3rd lane. He's going to look to get some speed down the backstretch, it appears.
On board with Adam Baker in the number 7 as we continue to run these green flag pit stops. Let's get the camera angle on this machine. He started back in 25th. So Adam Baker on the move. I think he might be one of the biggest movers of this race as you see the 48 of Jeff Wright peel down pit road.
Adam Baker up 19 positions right now with that move. Caleb Weekly right now running back in the 15th position. He is our biggest mover. Well, was kind of tied right now with Dustin Lewis, but up 20 and 21 positions for those 2 drivers. It looks like Weekly might have brought it down pit road now.
Yes, he did. So Weekly on pit road. We'll bring those pit stop timers back up. Ray Massey also into the pits. Hunter Sr. in the number 20. DeWeese also in the 15.
No disrespect to Adam Baker by any means, but maybe we get him off the screen here momentarily as we take a look at some of these other drivers. Now we've got more. James Lehman bringing it down. Who else do we have behind? There's Adam Baker bringing it in. The Miller Lite car. I didn't catch the name on that. I think that was the 12. No, the 12 is Caleb Wheatley.
72 machine.
There we
Greg
go.
Mall.
Greg Mall. He's been up front. I should have that car memorized by now.
It's one of your throwbacks, I believe.
It is one of my throwbacks, and it would be the drink of choice for tonight's race.
There you go. I've converted. I don't see a Michelob Ultra car anywhere on this racetrack.
Here's your sign. Aaron Smith in control of the race by almost 5 seconds over Keith Mayato. Still turning laps out here. 36 on the stint. It's got to be about time before we see that banana come down pit road for fuel. He's going to try to make it as long as he can out here. Maybe he feels that he's got the advantage now, getting away from some of these drivers. We'll see how it plays out for that 70 machine.
So we've seen a variety of everything here in round 1, race 1. And Aaron Smith, the defending champion of the Invitational Series, looking dominant so far. But the 50 machine, your pole sitter, he did the undercut strategy. James Lehman, 14.2 in the box. It's going to be interesting to see how the 70 fares on this pit stop.
Be very interesting to see if anything crazy happens with these fresh tires, because I'm noticing that Levi Cox and Morgan Cook both have a little bit more life left in the tank. Only 29 and 28 laps respectively on this fuel run for those drivers. Same for Chris Justice and Chris Samard, currently running in the 3rd and 4th position. So they have made a interesting strategy call here, using one of those earlier cautions to kind of put themselves in a position here to do something. If, you know, I don't want to say the word, but you know where I'm going.
Yeah, well, this field's very spread out, and Michigan's notorious for becoming a fuel strategy race. However, we're coming up on just around 15 laps to go. I don't know if staying out this long is beneficial if a caution doesn't come out.
Yeah, if a caution doesn't come out, this strategy is out the window. But right now, Cox, Cook, they have a 20-ish second lead over 3rd place Chris Samard. Jeff Wright, he is the first driver on the fresh tires, 4 laps old for the 48 machine, running in 4th. So you'll see right there, he's starting at 26 seconds behind our leader, and that's going to close very, very quickly with the fresh tires.
And the execution on pit road for James Lehman, he was a little bit slow on the entry and down the pit stall. He was 42.4 seconds in and out of pit road, whereas Jeff Wright and the 70 of Aaron Smith were around 37 seconds. It was a lot faster on and off of pit road for the 48 machine compared to your previous leader. And Jeff Wright now getting his laps led in just a moment. If Morgan Cook and Levi Cox, I think Morgan Cook's going to stay out one more lap. Levi Cox is going to come down pit road. And that'll hand the lead over to the 51. Can he go one more lap?
Well, he's going to have to, whether he likes it or not. Got one coming up the track right now, just to his inside. I believe that's the 44 of Philip Brewer on some fresh tires there. So it'll be an odd, half of a lap battle if Morgan Cook elects to stay out, but he's setting up on the bottom much slower. I think he's going to bring it down this time. That he is. Watch those brakes. Oh man, this one's a tough one to get into, Bradley. There's a lot of speed to slow down before you hit that commitment cone, and then ultimately your pit lane speed limit cone.
And there's another factor to this car as well. The RPMs are a little bit higher when you're in different gears. It's geared a little bit lower, and so you hear the revs different than you would on the cars that you hear today. And that's another part, that if you drive by sound and you're trying to gauge that speed based off of RPM, well, you heard Morgan Cook come down pit road, and I was kind of cringing because it sounded like he was speeding, but he got it down there.
Well, I tell you what, Bradley, we've got 37 viewers on the stream right now, and I don't see nearly enough picks in the chat of who you think are going to win this race here tonight. Don't forget, we've got one more coming up right after it. We want to see some more picks of who you think that winner at Watkins Glen will be. So keep that in mind. Keep your performances here in mind of these drivers. It doesn't come into too much effect, as Watkins Glen only has really 2 left-hand corners, unless you want to count the S's as a left-hander. But it is a whole lot of right-hand turning. That's going to be very interesting going from this to that.
Max Cost already thrown up as a name. We'll check in there with Max Cost in the number 63 machine, but he's actually taken an early exit from this event, so hopefully he does have a victory in the books, because he's going to need the points. Early exit for Max Cost, and he needs the points to reverse that.
That was about 40 laps ago that we saw the 63 machine still out on the track. So that would have been mixed up likely with that incident under the caution coming to that restart. Hard to say. I don't remember seeing the 63 mixed up, but there was so much going on. It very well could have. Jeff Wright now putting some lap traffic between himself and Aaron Smith, who is on a charge. He was just about 2.5 seconds behind 3 laps ago, now down to 1.5. a 3-lap difference between our first and second place drivers on these tires. It's
Hey.
the timing might come down to the checkered flag on this.
Well, I'm also paying attention to Justin Michael the last couple laps. He was faster than Aaron Smith by almost 0.3 of a second. So I think the 87 car might be one to beat here in just a moment. He's all over the back bumper as we come out of turn 2.
If I recall correctly, last year with Aaron Smith at Auto Club, he played this game very similarly to saving and letting drivers think that, you know, they're making a good pass here, as we're seeing Justin Michael get to the inside. He'll get well clear of Aaron Smith, but there's that 70 immediately to the back bumper, and it's a mind game here with Aaron Smith, in my opinion.
And a good battle back here behind him. Adam Baker on the outside of Greg Mull. This is for the 6th position. Adam Baker showing some speed as he'll go around and a little bit sideways back there for the 28 machine. I believe that is Dustin Lewis, who is scored as 1 lap down. But you're going to watch a battle here in just a moment. A little bit of 2 and 3 wide just in front. Greg Spiker dropping down the racetrack, letting these cars by. And the 14 also, the Dunkin' Donuts machine, going to let the 7 car go around.
That's Matt Gagnon up there on the top line. Now, he still has to race with Dustin Lewis. If a caution was to come out, he would be the recipient of that lucky dog. It is a battle right now at that 30th position for who would receive that. Teresa Spiker would be next in line as to the driver who would potentially fall a lap down. Has about 3 seconds, it appears, before Jeff Wright and Justin Michael, Aaron Smith all catch up.
So it's under a full second here for Jeff Wright in the 48 machine. There's Teresa Spiker, and there's the 48 as he leads another time by. Is he running out of time? He has about 3 laps difference on tires to Justin Michael and Aaron Smith. Man, the undercut seems to have worked for Jeff Wright. He got on and off pit road perfectly and made up some of that time, puts up a 1.5-second gap. It seems to be enough right now, but mathematically, like you said, I think they're going to catch up to him in about 2 or 3 laps.
What Jeff Wright needs to get done here is this pass around Spiker. This dirty air really hurting the 48 right now. Unless you're looking across the tri-oval or down the backstretch, that draft does help pick up some speed, but it's a totally different ball game whenever you have, 5 to 10 miles an hour speed difference into one of these corners. There's a whole lot more car to slow down whenever you pick up extra mile an hour.
Jeff Wright going to look to the inside of the 16. 87 has now caught up to Jeff Wright. And I saw Teresa Spiker get a little bit loose there off of turn 2. She's going to get a little bit loose off of turn 4 as well. And here we go with the top 3. Man, for the start of this race compared to where it's went now, completely different atmosphere. It is so spread out, and it looks like green flag to the end for this top 3. They really hope it goes that way.
But look at this battle back behind for the 5th position. Greg Mull, Jared Skinner, they have gone back and forth here for that 5th place spot over the course of the last 3 laps, but it's a pass for the lead. Justin Michael to the inside of Jeff Wright. He's going to get clear. Aaron Smith looks to follow on the bottom. Wright, he's way up on the track, but he keeps his foot in it. It's a drag race for 2nd place. Justin Michael looking to run away right now.
This is continued on here. This battle for around the 6th, 7th position. Adam Baker got around for 6th spot. He has the 07 of Jared Skinner. Looking at a top 5 here. Off the back end of the 07 out of 2.
Trying to find any other close battles on the field right now. It looks like everybody's pretty well separated by about 0.2 of a second. Dakota Floyd in the 11th position and looking to make a move. Oh, and Ray Massey in 10th. He was closing up that gap there. 57 trying to use the high line, a little bit of an over-under move in a sense, but he's going to slot right in behind the 23, try to pick up that draft. I would expect to see him move down into turn 1.
5 laps to go for Michigan. Round 1, race 1. Justin Michael. Nobody picked him to win this race. New name to us. The 87 car. Putting it ahead of Aaron Smith. Jeff Wright hanging on to this top 3. James Lehman, who pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else, started on the pole. He's worked his way back up to 4th. And the 50 car looking like he might get back to the top 5, but I don't think he's going to catch him for this top 3. Michael is just looking really stout here for these 4 to go. He's giving dirty air. He's taking away the line from Aaron Smith. And I got to wonder, maybe a sleeper here tonight at Michigan.
It very well could be. Started out in 2nd at our first green flag drop. The 87, he's been consistent up here. That's what it's going to take home this championship in the 2nd annual VSPEED Invitational. I don't know. We might see somebody take the crown away from the 70 machine. That'd be very, very interesting to see some new faces in here doing that.
Hunter Sr. down low with the 88. It's actually the 49 scored on your ticker is Chris Nail. This is 16th position. Just ahead of that, it's Nick Hapiak in the 06. The Stanley machine. Running to the higher line. Top 15 right now for him, but he's got Rude and or Nail and the 20 of Senior all over the back bumper. Senior gets loose. It's coming down to the wire here with 3 laps to go. I think Michael just might pull away. He had a really fast lap that last time by.
It's going to be about minimizing mistakes right now is going to be the name of the game for that 87. Aaron Smith, he is there. He is within 0.2 of a second. That's that draft bubble that these cars need. So it's just a matter of time before that 70 machine tries to make a move. We'll keep an eye on the 87 of Justin Michael, see if he can block it, see if he can predict it correctly. That banana filling up the rear view mirror right now as we're going to come around here to take the white flag in the first race of round number 1, Michigan International Speedway. That's coming down to the 87 and the 70 down into turn 1.
Tag on the wall there for Aaron Smith. He's going to send it to the inside. The 87 of Justin Michael's going to defend it, but down the backstretch, let's watch the run. Can Smith get anything going? He does not. He has a little bit of a chip there on the exit of 2, and it looks like Justin Michael bested the 70. Jeff Wright going to come home in 3rd. And race number 1 is going to go to the 87. Congratulations, Justin Michael. Round 1, race 1 is complete.
7 laps led for our race winner, the most important one. Always at that checkered flag. Up 1 position, but that's all it takes to get a race win.
Phenomenal job here by Justin Michael, and we'll get a word with these drivers in just a moment. But let's go ahead and put those final race results up on your screen. A lot of drivers that were in the top 5 stayed there, but you had some guys outside the top 20, like Adam Baker. You also had Jared Skinner. Keith Mayato on a great recovery after getting involved there at the very beginning of this race. That was lap 1. Sturgill also a great recovery. And there's your top 10 as we burn it down on the front stretch. We'll continue on through these results, but all these drivers going to go on to race 2 of round number 1. Watkins Glen coming up.
What a drive for the 07. That was 22 positions gained for Jared Skinner to finish out in 7th. Kevin Orlando Jr. up 20 as well, finishing back in 13th. Caleb Weekly up 18 on the night. So a lot of big moves from drivers that just ended up not having the best qualifying effort tonight. So you're definitely going to want to work on that as you go into Watkins Glen. Track position will be your friend.
Well, we're trying to round up some of these drivers here. We have Justin Michael, your winner of round 1, race 1. Justin Michael, you led 7 laps. You put it in victory lane after a blown engine. You're going to coast it down there to the apron. Congratulations on the first race here. And you're going to move on to Watkins Glen with maybe a little bit of relief.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard horror stories already about that. So, but I think we got lucky on this one. I don't know. Aaron's run good on 2 tires, and I had 4. So, if he wouldn't have made that mistake, I think it was his.
Well, we go back to the strategy. I know that we had some hiccups here at the very beginning of this race that maybe changed those fuel numbers and adjusted where you guys were going to pit. How much did that affect the race? I got to ask from maybe a league and broadcaster's perspective. You know, we put the show on to make it as competitive as possible, but we wanted to keep it even. So did the extension of the caution kind of change your strategy?
Yeah, it actually kind of helped. So we ran as far as we could, and then that gave me I was better in the short run, so that gave me a lot less laps on the back end to really stay up there and catch those guys. So I think it was beneficial for those 10 extra caution laps we had, or however many it was.
We had about 2 or 3 there on that last one. But, of course, that caution coming out at the beginning of this event. Then you guys ran it out green, which was a phenomenal race and turning into kind of a strategy race like Michigan should be. Justin, I know there's a lot of people that put you out here on the racetrack tonight. Go ahead and shout those people out before we go to Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I think it's my second time on this channel. So you guys call a great race. I was on the Indy 500 or 250 thing a while back, and yeah, you guys call a great race out there, and Jeff for putting on the leg. We appreciate that, and he's pretty quick. He almost caught me on 2 tires too. So shout out to him and Aaron and all the Bandit guys out there, Max V guys. So we'll see you here in about 45 minutes, and we'll see how bad that's going to be.
Well, I can tell you this. Brake bias is important. You figure that out. I'm not going to give you any tips, but that is the sauce that you need to put this car into victory lane. So whichever side of that you want to be on.
Already heard. We'll see what happens.
All right. Justin, Michael, appreciate your time, and we'll see you in just about 45 minutes, like you said.
See you in a bit.
Well, Logan, it's time to move on to our second place finisher. I want to let you take your pick right here. This is the guy that you were picking to win this race. He's going to come up 1 position short, but he led 3 laps, and he was in the top 3 for most of this day.
Yeah, of course. It's Aaron Smith in the 70 machine. He's no stranger to the VSPEED podiums around here. Up here many, many times. We've heard the voice so often. Aaron Smith, P2, you had the run there towards the end. Break down what happened to us in the last couple of laps that might not have gotten you the move that you wanted to try to make to win this race.
Well, first of all, I took 2 tires in that green flag pit stop, so realistically, I had no business fighting for the win there, but fortunately, the draft in this car is really strong for some reason. We were hitting about 208 at the end of the straightaways at the beginning of the run. But yeah, I got back up to Justin there and just pushed too hard on the nose. I had to push a lot to keep the car from spinning on the fresher tires, but I was able to compensate for it late in the run, and I was just 1 step too late there. I knew I should have thrown it down to the inside and going into 1, but I wanted to keep the car on the outside. I was sticking to my guns there the whole race, and just didn't work out for me there.
Well, you've got a chance to redeem yourself. We know in previous races you are a dominant road course driver. How is this Gen 4 car feeling at Watkins Glen in your practice leading up to this afternoon's event?
I can't really feel the steering in this thing. I don't know if that's realistic or not. I have heard a few people who've driven these cars, and like the other, like the what series is it that they drive the stock cars in, like the vintage series or whatever, and they say that the steering's pretty slack in this car. So I only turned about 3 laps, so we'll see how it goes. I'm usually pretty good on the road courses, so hopefully that'll carry over.
It's going to be all about surviving turn 1, lap 1, I feel like. But Aaron Smith, one more question for you, buddy. It's a pretty easy one. Who are you representing out here tonight?
Shoot, I don't know. It's been a while since I've raced in like a V-Speed like broadcasted league, I'm pretty sure, but I won last year, so I guess I'm representing the event last year. I don't know. The 500 or the 250 that I lasted about 50 laps in, maybe. I don't know.
Fair
I'll
enough.
find one eventually. I'm sure.
Well, no doubt about that. Aaron Smith, congratulations on P2. I'm sure you've got somebody to say thanks to.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank all y'all at VSPEED for putting this event on and having me back for a second year. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of it goes. I'd like to thank the folks at PT Autosport as well for the support, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it hopefully here in a few minutes.
Absolutely. We'll get right back to the action momentarily, but we've got one more to get to. Aaron, thank you for your time, and we will see you in a little bit. Bradley Cooper, I think you've finally caught up with our third place finisher, Jeff Wright.
I have. I've caught up with the number 48 and the undercut strategy. It kept you up front there for quite a ways, but man, the traffic, maybe the car, I don't know exactly what it was, Jeff, but it just seemed like once you got about 10 laps into that run, the car started to fall apart.
Yeah, it was a handful. The car worked really, really tight. I figured I had to try something different if I wanted any shot at a potential win. So short pit those guys a little bit there by a few laps, hoping I'd maybe, gain a little bit on that exchange. And then, hopefully they would run out of time by the time they caught me. But those guys were just both really, really good there. So, yeah, tough to beat them for sure. But happy to get third place here and, try to figure out this Gen 4 car. This thing is interesting, really draft dependent. It's still a lot to learn.
Well, on top of that, Jeff, you also come out here with maybe a little bit of a sour taste from the last Invitational. Things didn't quite go your way. And I know a lot of your drivers from Saturday Night Racing League are represented here in this series. They were last season and now carrying over to this. But you rose to the occasion. You put it back up here, and I believe you were one of the top finishers in the first one.
Well, actually, I didn't make the first one, Bradley, but so unfortunately, we didn't get to make that one. Back. But cool to be a part of this one. So glad it worked out that we were able to make this this event this season. And yeah, looking forward to getting out to Watkins Glen and then some of the other tracks that we're going to go to tomorrow night on Saturday. But yeah, it's fun. This is it's cool to have all these different leagues kind of get drivers from different series, different leagues, and be a part of an event that VSPEED puts on. So VSPEED just does incredible work, and so you'll see a lot of guys from all different leagues, and it's just cool that we can have a race like this, but also have it on VSPEED again, where the broadcasts are top notch, top tier. So we greatly appreciate it, and glad that Walk and Roll in Costumes is getting benefit from this as well. They're a great sponsor of Saturday Night Racing League that you mentioned, and cool to see them being a part of this as well. And so anybody watching out there, be sure to donate to Walk and Roll in Costumes or click that link in the description, because I feel like a lot of people might not know exactly what they are and what they do, but they're a fantastic organization, and it's cool that you guys are putting a light on that.
Well, finally, before I misspoke there, I want to just correct myself. It was Saturday Night Racing League, I believe, that was the best average there in the points, and that might have been where I was going with that in my brain. We're thinking back 12 months ago, Jeff. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, so I'm sorry for the miscue on that, but you know what? We're going to see you here in just about 30 minutes time when we go over to Watkins Glen. Anybody you want to shout out real quick before we go over and turn right?
Yeah, just Walk and Roll in Costumes again. I see Bradley put the QR code up on screen there, so just encourage everybody to scan that and learn more about what they do. And then, thanks to everybody at VSPEED, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Logan Threlkeld with you tonight, all the producers behind the scenes that maybe don't always get their names read, but we just appreciate the entire team and the product that you guys produce. It is top notch, and I would say that everybody in here would agree with that. So thank you guys.
Well, everybody here appreciates you coming up into the booth, and we've got another one here just before we go into the main series event for that final finale at Rockingham and Kansas Speedway. Jeff Wright, appreciate you.
Thank you.
And so with that, it's time to take a little bit of a break here on VSPEED. We have one more event up next. Logan, this racetrack is already tough enough, but we're going to take 900 plus horsepower and lay it down at this random racetrack in New York.
Oh, I don't know how you could call it random when this is the most beautiful place on earth. Watkins Glen, right in the heart of North New York, and well, northern state New York. But it's beautiful up here. You can see the scenery, you hear fast cars, 900 horsepower. It's gonna be a raw feeling. There it is right there. A quick glance at what this track looks like. 2.45 miles around. Elevation changes about 200 feet or so roughly throughout the course of the field. But it's a blast, man. These cars, like I mentioned, they're a lot to handle. So expect to see some fireworks here tonight. Keep your eyes out on the S's. That's going to be the most dangerous portion of this track as you come over that last crest on that right-hand turn, avoiding that barrier to your right, immediately to your right. It's going to be surreal. I'm so excited for Watkins Glen and these Gen 4 cars.
Of course, you can catch that action in just a moment's time, but for us here, we're going to take a quick break here on VSPEED. Again, you can find that link down below in the description if you would like to donate to Walk and Roll in Costumes. So far, so good for this second ever Invitational Series. More coverage continues on VSPEED right after this.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, here we are. We're back for the second race of round number 1. It's on Friday, late at night. It is 10:12 on the East Coast right now. We settled it there at Michigan with the number 87 of Justin Michael getting the victory. We talked to your top 3. Boy, oh boy, Logan, it's going to be a good one here. It's in a completely different scenario for this one. The VSPEED Invitational doing its best with 4 different track varieties, exactly the way we dialed it up. And Walking and Rolling Costumes, main title sponsor here with Keo and Juicy Spider Studios. Logan Threlkel, Bradley Cooper back up here in the VSPEED booth. We've got another one to cover, and hopefully we can see some more great racing like we saw in Michigan.
I believe we absolutely will. These drivers seem to really be getting a hang of the track here. I know, talking to the top 3 from last race, it seemed to be kind of a mixed review as to how they were feeling going into the road course. But, overall, we're looking pretty solid out here. The lap times are fast. They're consistent. I think it's going to be a pretty good race.
Of course, Cody Anderson and Benjamin Richards as race control and, working really hard to make sure we can keep this as level as possible. And again, shout out to those guys because we made their job very, very difficult. We had a hiccup there at the start of the Michigan race, and I just want to say great job handling all of that, extending the cautions, and kind of being, subject to change. They did a fantastic job, Logan, to make sure that everything was kind of ironed out. And I know a lot of drivers there recovered, but shout out to Chad Klinger. I know that race started off poorly for him. Hopefully this one goes better for him as we still have around 35, 36 cars here to start it out. And we're getting closer and closer to qualifying. But before we do that, Logan, I know that there's somebody that we need to talk to representing Walking and Rolling Costumes. And we've talked to this guy before when we were over in Saturday Night Racing League. But this guy is a phenomenal guy. He's amazing at what he does. And it's Chris Rude. He spots for the number 23 of Ray Massey. But Chris, you also race in the Saturday Night Racing League in their Challenger Series. You've been side by side with a lot of us here from VSPEED, and sir, you've been side by side with a lot of our broadcasts as well. But Chris, what is the cause here? We can't explain it as well as you can. You've been directly involved with it.
Yeah, Walking and Rolling Costumes is a nonprofit organization that builds costumes for kids in walkers and wheelchairs free of charge to the family. So it's all funded by donations, all built by volunteers. So anything that's given to Walking and Rolling really goes straight to building costumes. Costumes can cost anywhere from, we figure, about $250 to $500 to make and assemble a costume, and that's all the parts and pieces it's needing. And then if we're shipping, because we'll ship anywhere in the U.S., that can sometimes be more than the costume itself. One example, probably the most extreme example, is we shipped a Black Hawk helicopter to Hawaii, and it was like $1,500 just in shipping.
Wow. Well, okay. So on top of that, you also have all the volunteer work and the people that need to be a part of that as well to get that thing built. So where can you go to help volunteer to build such a thing?
Absolutely. And if you go to walkinrollin.org, I know they've been posting that during all the broadcasts, and appreciate that, guys, for sharing that information. But if you go to walkinrollin.org, in the menus there, there's a link to volunteer and how you can get involved and volunteer. We do workshops, typically 2 a year in the Kansas City area, where we actually people come in and we build as many costumes as we have volunteers and kids to build for. So we've had 8 to 10 costumes going on at once, which is absolute chaos. And we try and build costumes in 2 days. So we do one in the spring and one in the fall. So if you're in the Kansas City area, I want to say it's the second weekend in September. Sorry, I don't have the dates in front of me. I should have been better about that. We are doing that in the Kansas City area. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up for that event. If that's something you want to do just in your own area and want to get in touch with us, you can build a costume for a kid in your area without ever coming to Kansas City. We work with schools. We work with businesses. We work with individuals. any kind of projects like that. And we have a team of about 10 or 12 of us called the Experience Build Team that I'm a part of. And we will communicate with you over Zoom, FaceTime, phone calls, whatever it needs. Whatever needs to happen so that we can support you on, hey, engineer it this way. These are the parts you should use. Any kind of questions you have, we have a team of people just to help you build when you're not around anybody. So there's very little expertise or experience because we try and simplify the plans. They're framed in PVC generally. And then we figure out whatever the costume is based on what the kid has requested, whether we're using like EVA foam, which is what a lot of cosplayers and stuff use. We may use styrene, which is like a sheet of plastic. Whatever we have or whatever you use can be done to make a costume.
Well, on top of all of that, I know that you are a proud supporter. You volunteer a lot of your time. You've been involved with Walking and Rolling Costumes for a very long time. As I think here at VSPEED, we've been hearing that name for about 3 years now, and it's good to give back here. Again, you can go and donate in the link in the description below. You can scan that QR code that's on the right-hand side of the screen. But finally, Chris Rude, we got to ask you, what's going on with that 23 car when we go out here to Watkins Glen?
I haven't had a whole lot of time. I haven't been chatting with him too much in practice, but I think the biggest concern is Ray's dealing with a little bit of a foot injury. So the braking on his left foot. So when I was talking to him earlier today, he was dealing with that. So just trying to watch and not being able to communicate with him while I was hanging out with you guys. It looks like he's starting to get things dialed in and getting it figured out. So he's usually pretty good of trying to find the limits and where things are and drive within himself. So keep it underneath him, I think, is the name of the game, because he said, I think this car tries to step out or snap, and he was talking about it getting wobbly some. So I think just keeping the car underneath him is going to be a big key.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you coming up here in the broadcast booth. Logan, do you have anything for him before we let him go?
Chris, I just want to say the whole message behind Walking and Rolling Costumes, it's such a cool deal. Really happy to have been working side by side with you on so many projects here behind the scenes in the virtual world. Hopefully one day might be able to make a trip out there your way and see if I can make one of those workshops and help out hand in hand with you.
Hey, we'll love it. We always say the more the merrier. We have a great time doing it. And you know, the longevity of us, I started with Walking and Rolling in 2019. This year's the 10th anniversary. So it was established in 2015. So it's been around for a little while now, and great to have the relationship with VSPEED and everything you guys do. You do always do a great job in the broadcast booth, presenting races, always putting on events like the VSPEED Invitational. You put on a good event, and it's always great to have a partnership with some high quality people and groups like you guys.
We appreciate
that.
That
I have to
very
say
much.
the same.
Yeah, we appreciate that very, very much. You know, a lot of things go on behind the scenes. I can't even imagine what you guys go on with and what you guys put on to make this all happen. We did our charitable events for the Race for 8 there back in the beginning of the year, and just to do that continuously for 10 years. I mean, I was ready to let go. I was losing my mind for probably a good 3 or 4 weeks there, Logan, just trying to get things going. And you guys do it day in and day out and ask nothing for it in return. So fantastic cause. Again, QR code up on the right hand side of the screen, link in the description of this broadcast, and we'll have this up as we go racing at Rockingham tomorrow. And hopefully, Chris, we'll get you prepared. I know I kind of left you in the dark there with the camera. Hopefully we can get you up there on the big screen on that one.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll get it ready for tomorrow, and we'll have it good to go. So not that you guys want to see my face, but I'll be up there.
Oh, we do.
Make sure it's
we
right.
absolutely do. It's a more personable experience. But you know what is also personable is that you got to be up there on the top of that tower, spotting and helping the 23 of Ray Massey get around this racetrack. So we're going to let you go and get back to that. We appreciate you coming up here.
I appreciate you having me, guys. Good luck with the broadcast. Appreciate all you do. We will see you hopefully shortly.
Post-race interview, maybe?
Hey, I think it might be a long shot if I'm going to be blatantly honest, but hey, anything can happen. So I have a lot of confidence in Ray, probably more than he does at times. So, hey, if it happens, it happens. We'll take it.
Keeping them level-headed. That's what you got to do. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Chris, and we'll see you maybe post-race.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
And that's Chris Rude with Watkins and Rolling Costumes. We still have a little bit here for qualifying. I think we're going to take another quick break. We'll recap here on all of the sponsors. But yeah, again, make sure that you check out that link in the description. It goes out to a great cause. And everybody here at VSPEED proudly supports what they do over at Watkins and Rolling and Saturday Night Racing League. They were the first to introduce us to them. Logan, I know that you've been a part of Watkins and Rolling and Saturday Night Racing. We've talked to those guys. We've raced alongside them. Just a stand-up group of people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, SNR's kind of a place to be whenever it comes to Saturday nights, and they've got a great group of drivers. They've got a great group of just overall people, and of course, big sponsors like Watkins and Rolling Costumes with just such an outstanding message behind it. And that's what I like to be a part of, Bradley. That's one of my favorite things in this broadcasting world, is finding something that, you know, has some maybe not so much personal meaning to me, but a meaning overall, and that's what matters.
We'll be right back here at Watkins Glen in just a moment. Race number 2 of round number 1. And it looks like Aaron Smith is one of the fastest in qualifying. Don't go anywhere. More coverage will continue of the VSPEED Invitational right after this.
Watkins and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kids?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Watkins and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to our coverage of the VSPEED Invitational. It's the second race of round number 1 in 2025, and it's the second ever for VSPEED to put on this Invitational. Welcome in. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Logan Threlkeld. And Logan, I know that this race is going to be a little bit different than what we saw at Michigan. I'm excited to see what these guys have in store. The runner-up there with the number 70 of Aaron Smith, the 87 with a surprise win. It's all leading up to our Saturday night when we go to Rockingham.
We've got Rockingham and then Kansas to settle the score of who is going to be the second annual VSPEED Invitational champion this year. Big switch up from last year. We stuck with kind of the same format there with, having the the 1.5 miles, the 2-mile oval road course, and of course having a rather short track. But Rockingham, it's bumpy. It's not going to be that fast. These cars are going to be a lot to handle tomorrow. Kansas, however, is going to be a blast. I'm really excited for that one. But first, we got to get through our road course. I couldn't tell you which one I'm more excited for.
Well, I can tell you what I'm excited for is finding out these final points. With all those bonus points we were just showing there on the screen, wins getting 3 bonus points, and then bonus points for most laps led, the fastest lap, and of course starting on the pole. There's so many variables to put drivers, maybe that you don't get the win, but you start on the top spot, and James Lehman put it up in the 4th position, so he's probably looking pretty in the points here. Take a look at our track map. It's 2.45 miles with an elevation of around 110 feet up and down this racetrack. The S's, they're going to be very difficult, to say the least. 1956 when this racetrack opened.
That they are. Those S's, as I mentioned, closing out there at Michigan. It's going to be so dangerous at the top of that hill. The rear end of this car gets so light sometimes that no matter what gear you're in, which most likely we'll see this field try to take through the S's in 3rd gear up until the top and shift into 4th into the straight. But it's a tricky one. We've got 35 laps to figure it out. We've got 40 miles an hour down the pit road this time. Still, 4 tire sets available, starting out with 1 on the car, 3 over the wall, 2 green-white checkered attempts, 80% fuel, just the same as last race with the iRacing fixed setup. Here's the kicker. We have a competition caution at lap 15. There are no points on the line when that comes out, but at the start, of lap 15, we will see the yellow flag come out. We'll get everybody down pit road, fresh tires, fresh fuel, stack the field back up, and it's going to be about a 12-lap sprint, I think. Now, it should be right around 15 laps. A little bit more than that, but it's going to be just the same race split in half, essentially. So it's going to be, stint 1, figuring out how to drive the track around the traffic. Stage 2 is putting together all of your best sectors and making your best laps.
That, though, it's time to move on to our grid, and starting on the top spot, Dakota Floyd putting it on the pole. Number 57, after that little hiccup with his monitor, is going to be on the top position, 1 minute 12.469. He's going to beat Aaron Smith at his own game, the driver that probably is favored to win this one. I haven't made my pick yet, but there's their front row for this second event. Moving on to row number 2, James Lehman. He is going to start in the 3rd position. Braxton Deweese is going to start in 4th. 5th spot goes to Carter Lynch. Jeff Wright in 6th spot. Then it's Justin Michael, winner at Michigan. Nick Hapiak in the 06, starting in 8th. And your top 10 goes to the 77, Team VSPEED, Chris Samard, and Team VSPEED, Keith Mayato.
Presenting BTDY well on that 5th row. Row number 6 will belong to Chad Klinger in the 09 and VSPEED's very own Adam Baker in the number 7. 13th will be another VSPEED very own, the 17 of Lucas Lyons, next to the 3 of Michael Sturgill. Looking to make a comeback here in the second race. Chris French in the 53 starts out in 15th, next to the 20 of Hunter Sr. Behind them, it's Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27, starting out 17th, next to the 72 of Greg Mall. Last but not least, in our top 20, it's the 82 of Morgan Cook, next to the 07 of Jared Skinner.
Levi Cox will start in 21st, 22nd to go to Chris Justice, 23rd to Caleb Weekly. Back here to Brent Allen in 24th. I believe they started in the same row the last one. Chris Bradley and Teresa Spiker as we round off. Pace truck pulling down. Here we go for another one. Round 1, race number 2. Green flag is out, and we're underway at Watkins Glen.
Aaron Smith sending it a whole lot deeper into turn 1. He gets well clear of the 57 of Dakota Floyd. And there it is, already about a 3-car length gap before we get to the S's. Side by side for position number 3. Jeff Wright gets the advantage up to the 3rd spot around the inside of Braxton Deweese in the 15 machine. We are all sorts of single filed out now in the top 10. Looks like it's pretty well sorted out through the entire field already down into the bus stop.
Through this carousel, leading lap number 1 so far, Aaron Smith. He was a couple tenths faster than everybody else. Dakota Floyd holding on to that 2nd position as they come into the final 2 turns at this racetrack. It's a quick left hand, 90 degrees. Take it out wide, get over to the other side of the racetrack, and across that start-finish line, Aaron Smith leads lap number 1.
It's to almost no surprise there to see the Banana leading the field in early, starting out on the outside of the initial start. There is a big benefit as Dakota Floyd had to back down the corner quite a bit to get the car slowed up to make T1 lap 1. Aaron Smith sent it a little bit deeper on the outside, and it paid off immensely. Half a second now separating 1st and 2nd place. A little bit further back in the field, it's the 12 of Caleb Weekly we just had a quick look at, running in 13th. We've already got one that is on pit road. That looks like the 52 of Chris Justice. Turn 1 claims its first victim of the night.
We already had some damage from the beginning of this race, and the 72 got sideways and nowhere to go for Justice.
72, Greg Mall had issues in the bus stop as well with Teresa Spiker. Both of them unable to get slowed up. There's that spin.
Brian Hennings, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think Brian Hennings there.
It's a little bit deeper to the inside. Yeah, Henning's just a little bit further out on the exit than what he needed to be there. That sends the 72 around, ultimately collecting the 52 there. 72 now in pit road as well. Oh! Contact into turn 1. The 53 of Chris French involved. Happyak's involved. Backwards. There's one more there as well. I think that might have been Carter Lenz, maybe Michael Sturgill. Yeah, it was the Carter Lenz machine, the 66. Either driver making contact with the wall, however, so no damage to repair. Those tires are going to be pretty scuffed up. There you see Chris French. He was hard on the brakes, nearly got into the back of Happyak, sent it to the outside, nearly got into the back of Carter Lenz, then just ended up getting a little bit too loose, collects the left rear of Happyak, sending him into Lenz. French makes it through cleanly.
John Rapp in the chat, it looks like you're wrong. Right now, he is holding on to the lead. 70 car pulling away a little bit here as we approach that competition caution. It will start at the beginning of lap 15. And again, it goes back to there's no points for this one. And I'm having a little bit of issues with my overlays here. There we go. It is cycling out now. But 31 cars on this racetrack. Look like the bottom half of that ticker not working for just a moment. Will it go back to qualifying times and positions gained or lost? I believe that's the 10 of Greg Spiker in the 31st position.
That would be Greg Spiker in the 31st position. Teresa Spiker just ahead in 30th. Both being scored 2 laps down, as well as Greg Mall. Morgan Cook goes a lap down. The 82 has a black flag.
Meatball.
There it is. Wonder what happened to old Morgan Cook here. They were coming through the last corner, and it was hectic. Oh, right into the pit barrels. That will do it.
ASX sponsoring the pit barrels over at Racing Revolution. But there's the 24 machine that's actually labeled as the 42, and I'm not sure what happened in front of him. Go on board. He had the 77 of Chris Simard in front of him. That's actually the 17.
Oh. So the 17, I believe that's Lucas Lyons.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit earlier on the brakes than Kyle Adams was imagining. But luckily, it doesn't look like a whole lot of damage on either one of those cars. Morgan Cook being the worst of it there as he was trying to avoid all that mayhem. Ends up putting that passenger side window right into the pit barrels. Here comes the 16 now of Teresa Spiker. Heavy damage on the front end of that machine.
Let's see if I can back this up enough. I think she had to tow to pit road here.
There it is. Looks like the bottom of the S's. So coming out of turn 1, wide on the exit. That is an incident point that far out. Gets it back onto the track surface, but that hump right there at the very end of that, that rumble strip, turtle barrier, whatever you want to call it, it got that car unsettled on the suspension, just right into the wall. Big hit. Jeff Wright extremely loose out of the last corner, coming down the front stretch into turn 1. Let's see how this car handles here. Great view as we are on board with James Lehman. Both of them make it safely through turn 1. You can see that is just laser focus in the eyes of the 50 right now. That is an intense stare. He's not blinked yet. There it is. He finally blinked. He is human.
All over the back bumper of Jeff Wright as they go through the bus stop chicane. Lap number 6 underway, and I've lost camera connection with this guy. It was Adam Baker in the number 7. There's a few other drivers that we haven't got to talk about here tonight. And I think this is the opportunity that we have to just hop through the field. First driver that I want to talk about, and we already kind of touched base here, Logan, on who we were going to come to. But the first driver that I want to bring up here is going to be Braxton DeWeese. What a hop back here, deeper in this field. Luis actually ahead. He's in the 5th position, riding on board with the 15 now.
Braxton Luis, representative of the Spark Racing League. We had them covered last season in their Xfinity Series. And let me tell you, Braxton Luis, young driver, a lot of talent in the seat of the 15 machine. And it is incredible to watch how he can work his way around these tracks. It doesn't matter if it's a short course, a super speedway, a intermediate track, or a road course. This kid is consistent as you can get. And it just seems like over the course of that season of coverage with the Spark Racing League, it just seemed strategy ended up getting him a couple times. That kept him away from that championship. But overall, fantastic drive from him.
Onboard camera seeming to having a better time here around Watkins Glen. Man, this car does not want to turn though. And for anybody that struggled with the brake bias, it's just one of those things you got to play around with it. Kind of went to the opposite side though. A lot of people kind of fighting the urge to dial this thing up, and a lot of people went down to around 60, as low as it would go. And then you were talking about the cheese here, Logan, as we see the 7 of Adam Baker a little bit out wide here. You were talking about the cheese at the beginning of these sessions. We have practice sessions up, of course, to make sure these drivers were prepped and ready to go for tonight's race. Tell them a little bit about what you were talking about.
Yeah, there is a trick. However, I'm not sure if I want to reveal the secrets, as we still have 2 races tomorrow. Don't want to give anybody an unfair advantage by any means. A little inside tips and tricks on this car. We can I'll certainly reveal that at the end of tomorrow night's sessions. But for now, I think I'd like to keep the playing field even here.
I think he was sworn to secrecy here, folks.
I very well might be under an NDA.
Yeah, I think you are.
Witness protection might be knocking on my door right now. We'll have to see.
Well, nonetheless, I will not disclose that as well. I don't want to be part of your case, and we'll let this go for now. But it is definitely a trial and error to try to figure out this race car. Again, it's very new to a lot of these drivers. And the closest battles on the racetrack, you can go back here to Brian Henningsen, 14th, just to the inside of Kevin Orlando, taking the right side through turn 1. Not going to get the drive off that he wanted. Has Keith Mayato all over the back bumper through the S's.
And that slows down the 36 a whole lot more than Mayato wanted to be. But here he's going to be ripping through the S's as you see the 10 of Greg Spiker go by on the left-hand side, allowing plenty of room for these drivers. Big run down into the bus stop. Mayato on the inside. He's going to get the ball. He knocks the bumper off. He gets it around. Whew, Mayato keeps it off of the wall. He will be safe to get restacked on that competition caution in just a few laps, but loses all that ground that he had just worked up. Contact from the rear on the entry of the bus stop from that 74 of Brian Hennings. Hennings losing that front bumper. That's going to be a big factor for him as well. Whew, just got sent around there.
I don't know what it is, but when I see somebody close like that at Watkins Glen, I got to take the camera to it. We also have another moment here for the 3rd position through the bus stop chicane. It's Dakota Floyd starting to fade out a little bit from Aaron Smith. And we've watched Dakota Floyd. He gets around these road courses as we have a car down in the grass. I think that's the 42.
That Kyle Adams.
Kyle Adams. And the 24 labeled as the 42 on your screen.
So Adams maybe just trying to get out of the way. He did elect to start this race at the back of the pack. Voted for an EOL for himself. Not too sure if it was just uncomfortable with how the car was driving. Didn't want to be in the hectic mess that turn 1 can be. But there it is. He catches the turtle on the exit of the bus stop. Sends it around about halfway. Collects it. I think.
And there goes again.
Yeah, just a little bit too hard on the throttle. So holds onto that inside wall as leader Aaron Smith goes flying by. It doesn't look like too much damage there, though.
Aaron Smith with 3.5 seconds already over Dakota Floyd. James Lehman is catching the back of this number 57 going into the bus stop. Are we going to see more of the same? This is the tight part of this racetrack. Hanging with him into the carousel. The 50 car has came to play for this tournament style event. The VSPEED Invitational has been great. He's trying to dethrone the 70 of Aaron Smith.
So interestingly enough, second and third place will be teammates in a couple different leagues. Two of them that I can think of off the top of my head, Saturday Night Racing League and Racing Revolution. These two drivers competing in. So it's Floyd's in the grass. He's going to lose a little bit of speed, a little bit of control. Lehman gets to the inside, hard on the brakes. And Floyd goes for that over-under move. He's going to get side by side before they get to the bottom of the S's. Floyd to the inside. This is dangerous. Side-by-side action that you don't really want to see if you're Jeff Wright, but they're going to single file it out. Wright takes a look to the left. Backs out of it, thinks better. But here we go. This is going to be a move. This is going to be a move. Jeff Wright's going to send it to the inside.
He backed it up.
Probably smart as Lehman gets backed up a little bit more. Lap traffic just ahead of him.
Oh! Who was that in the Wrangler car? Brent Allen's coming down pit road.
I believe that's Chris Braley in the 80 machine, currently running 25th. It is.
Wow. Well, we can only do this justice. Look how much the closing rate was into this chicane.
Yeah, it was quite quick, and Lehman on the gas way earlier than that 80 machine, just right square in the back bumper, sends him in a spiral, puts the back bumper into the wall, loses it. So there's some damage to repair on that competition caution for the 80. We're going to see about a 3-minute pace lap, so he's got plenty of time to get damage repaired.
Puts James Lehman up to second spot, but he is 6.5 back from Aaron Smith. He didn't pick up any damage the last time through that bus stop chicane. We got Jeff Wright around. It's actually in pit road. I saw him losing positions. I thought he had lost the car, but no, he is down pit road. And the next driver that we need to talk about is the driver of the number 13. So let's find the onboard with this machine. He's coming out of pits.
Brent Allen currently sitting in the 24th position. Couple drivers electing to go for that undercut strategy as the pit entrance has now closed. Aaron Smith, I know that's one of his favorite plays, is to undercut that first stage. Well, you can't really call it a stage. If you undercut that competition caution, keep yourself out at the front of the field. Now he's going to have a couple drivers just ahead of him on this restart on a few lap older tires. But I don't know, with the start that he had for this race, it's going to be interesting to see what the 70 does.
And the 12 machine of Caleb Wakely having problems. The 77 of Chris Simard has front end damage through this portion of the racetrack. Back in 21st position for Simard after starting up front. Remember, he was involved in something very early as he rolls through the carousel, just trying to recover this race. A lot of people going back to Aaron Smith here, but a lot of people involved in that wreck at the start of the event at Michigan, and now just trying to hold on to the race here at Watkins Glen. Some of the same names that we talked about. The driver of Matt Gagnon, early exit for him. He was a driver that I also wanted to get up on the board and get on the camera, but the 14 early exit, Morgan Cook out for the day. Greg Mull, Chris Justice, also an early exit. Teresa Spiker also out as well. And then you have Chris Bradley in the number 80 machine, the Wrangler, also out as Aaron Smith has claimed the lead for this competition. Yellow, lap 15.
They're going to have about a full lap before they catch up to that pace car. And then it'll be one more time around. Find out who's going to elect to stay out, who our drivers were that went for the undercut strategy. Jeff Wright should cycle out to the lead with that call. Brent Allen scored one lap down right now, hoping possibly for a waiver round. I don't think that's going to happen. Kyle Adams currently in position for a lucky dog. So we'll see what happens here.
We have more coverage to continue. We're going to go side by side. Check out those links in the description. We appreciate everybody here at VSPEED for helping put this together. Adam Baker, Logan, I know you did a lot of legwork, and then Chris Rude and everybody at Walk and Rolling Costumes. We're going to get them lined back up in just a moment. It's the second ever VSPEED Invitational 2025 edition. More coverage continues on VSPEED right after this.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to our coverage from Watkins Glen. The pace truck taking the wide out and showing them the preferred line around this racetrack. Competition caution at lap 15. And as it all cycles out, Jeff Wright taking over the top spot. Aaron Smith, the dominant car of the day. Dakota Floyd, who started on the pole. James Lehman, who started on the pole on the first race. A lot of big hitters up here in the top 5 as we get set to go back green. Logan, I hope you're enjoying this action because I absolutely am.
Oh, 100%. This has been a great race so far. Nice to see a little bit of a shakeup here as this restart will be under control of the 48 machine on the inside line. Pace truck off and away he goes. A big jump for Jeff Wright, leaving Aaron Smith in the dust. But here's where he gets to make up all his ground.
Ooh,
Smith contact from behind. Lehman sends it through the corner. Aaron Smith is going to have some ground to make up, and so is that 50. He's got to get it fired back up and back up on the racetrack. Here he goes. It will be the drive of a lifetime for James Lehman to get back up to the top 5.
James Lehman, who finished in the top 5. He recovered his race at Michigan, but it doesn't look like he's going to have the opportunity here, as we'll only have around 16, 17 laps to go for him to get back up from 22nd to the top 5. He started in 3rd.
He is bad fast, but there are a lot of cars in the way now before he can get there. That's a lot of passing that you have to really focus on. Back here on the VSPEED instant replay, back to turn 1. And it is just, man, he was all over the back bumper of Aaron Smith. I think maybe missed the braking point a little bit, or that could be the difference in the brake bias settings that we had talked about earlier. If he had a little bit more front brake bias in the car, that's going to slow down quite a bit slower depending on the amount of percentage, as the 24 of Kyle Adams sideways out of the last corner, backwards right in the racing line. Luckily at the back of the field there, so nobody else going to get collected, the 42 or the 24. However you want to look at it, he's got the right numbers, just in the wrong order. Now he's going to have to make up some ground here before he can hopefully collect some extra points going into tomorrow.
And Aaron Smith fell back to 5th position after that contact with the number 50 going into turn 1 on this restart. And Jeff Wright has been pulling strategy. He knows he might not be the fastest race car on this track, but he's definitely the most cunning and trying to outwit these guys right now.
You know, Jeff Wright, we've seen it time and time again over in the Saturday Night Racing League setting, especially in the Xfinity and the Next Gen car, a dominator. You could call him a ringer for the Sonoma races. Obviously, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, completely opposite ends of the United States and completely different tracks, but that road course knowledge and how to handle a race car turning right that is built to turn left in most cases, it certainly helps, and it's showing.
It's tightening up here through the top 10. Carter Lenz in the 66 behind Michael Sturgill as we go up the hill for the S's. This is the 8th position for Carter Lenz. He started in 5th, and watch how sideways these cars are getting.
Tell you what, Carter Lenz, another one of those drivers that's extremely good at road courses. I've seen him partake in races at Circuit of the Americas down in Austin, Texas. He is fast as can be there, but it's been a bad luck string for that 66 whenever it comes to the internet connection department. And man, let me tell you, firsthand experience, that is one of the most infuriating things whenever it comes to trying to race.
You would know firsthand. You've dealt with that a lot here, Logan. And, you know, putting on productions and being part of races, and nothing's more upsetting than putting all that practice time in only to find out that your internet provider will just kick you out of a session. But I do have to go back to just a few weeks ago. Carter Lenz in the number 66 at Racing Revolution put on a phenomenal show with Jeremy Burns, and that race came down to the very last lap. They were within a couple tenths of each other all the way through to the end of that race. Fantastic broadcast. And then You can go back. Jeremy Burns didn't lead a single lap until the last one at the Chicago Street Course. So, tell you what, Wednesday nights has been getting pretty awesome.
But Chicago Street Course, such a narrow track as well, a place that you can make some mistakes that, you know, might not seem too bad in most cases, but at the same time, it can ruin the race. And right now, I'm looking at Nick Hapiak struggling in the bus stop. He got spun around there in the 06 machine. If we can get a quick replay of that, I'm thinking maybe either contact with the wall in the entrance. Yeah, it looks like maybe contact with a dancing partner here.
54 machine, a Levi Cox. Hapiak
kind of
kept it off the wall.
Kept it off the wall, but no competition caution from this point on to get him stacked back up in the field. I don't know. It looked like he thought he was maybe clear of Levi Cox. Cox never wavering from the line he was going to take. He manages to get the 54 through the bus stop cleanly, but Hapiak losing all of the ground that he just had.
Back on board with Adam Baker, looking at another top 5. And just a moment ago, we had onboard cameras with the number 7 machine. He's going to rip through this carousel. There's your round 1, race 1 winner, Justin Michael, just in front of him. See what I did there? Just in front of him.
I saw it. I was going to try to ignore it, but I don't know. It was pretty funny.
We do our best up here at VSPEED. 7 car.
Unless it comes to math.
Yeah, well, you can't ask me to do math on the fly like that.
It's 9 plus 10.
19.
Yeah.
How many laps we got left there, Logan? I think it's 11.
I'm going to say 12.
It's 12. Just like your car numbers.
Back to the action on the track. Yeah, Adam Baker putting together a solid Friday night performance. If he can work his way around that 87, get a top 5 here, that would be extremely set up for tomorrow's activities. You can see it is getting close with that wall there on the entrance of the bus stop, narrowly avoiding it by inches in cases.
So what you got to do, you got to push every envelope here at this racetrack. A fantastic job from all these guys in the top 10. Carter Lenz. Looks like he's going to take a battle here to Sturgill in just a moment. A little bit faster last time by, and gets a little loose off of the final turn, and all that ground he made up is gone.
But it can all be made right back up here into turn 1 as you're going to see that gap close up just enough. Kyle Adams, for some reason, down pit road. 2442 machine. Back on the VSPEED instant replay. We'll take a look at what happens here. Down into turn 1. That bumper already flapping in the wind. He makes it through 1 cleanly and just stops. He's going to pull it back to the infield and park it. So he's just getting out of the way, not comfortable with how he is driving right now. Scored 2 laps down at the moment. I think he was 1 lap down whenever he elected to do that. So not a bad idea. Oh, Adam Baker! Adam Baker struggles out of the bus stop. He hits the wall hard. The front bumper off of the 7. There goes the top 5.
A mistake here through the bus stop chicane. And Adam Baker into the outside wall, left-hand wall. Tough break for Adam Baker.
Caught the curb the wrong way. You know, that's one of the struggles I've heard from a lot of these drivers is the left-hand turning capability here on the road course. Obviously, way more right-handers than we have left-hand corners. So, you know, you kind of focus your efforts there into turning the car right instead of left for once, but it's been a big discussion point among the drivers of how poorly this car turns back to the left.
And that's tough break. He falls back to 10th position. Still looking at a top 10 here. Excuse me. James Lehman. Another one of the cars. Yeah. Back up to 11.
He was at the back of the field after the contact into turn 1 with Aaron Smith. And I think he fell all the way back to the 23rd position. And I believe at the time we had 24 or 26 on track. So technically even further back. And he's already starting to challenge for a top 10. I told you it would be the drive of a lifetime. But there's an opportunity here that he may still peak into the top 5. If something crazy happens, it's possible. So he's going to make that pass on the inside of Adam Baker down there in the penultimate corner. And he's going to get clear with ease. And now Lehman in the top 10 trying to chase down that 17 of Lucas Lyons.
You got Keith Mayato, Carter Lenz, and Michael Sturgill. And then it's on to Justin Michael. We're talking about almost a full 7 to 8 seconds, though, to catch up to these guys. Braxton DeWeese up in the top 5, holding defense against the 87 as we come through the S's.
Let this one play out here. We're going to see some closure rate right there, but a better exit out of the corner. That's going to make the difference down into the carousel, holding that momentum. The 15 of DeWeese trying to keep it up here in the top 4 positions. He's got 4 seconds if he wants to catch up to Aaron Smith. He's made his way back up to a podium spot and looks like he is battling some lap traffic just up ahead. DeWeese has to keep an eye on that rearview mirror for Justin Michael in that 87 machine there. I apologize.
It's not lap traffic.
Smith was not battling lap traffic. That is the 57 of Dakota Floyd all over the front bumper of Aaron Smith.
Top 3 right alongside each other. And you got to wonder, we're kind of seeing what we saw at Michigan where Jeff Wright is leading with 10 or 15 to go, and then slowly that lead dwindles away. Aaron Smith trying to figure out his way around the second place driver of Dakota Floyd through this bus stop chicane.
Let me tell you, personal experience with Dakota Floyd on the track. He is a hard driver to get around. He defends very well, but as I say that, broadcaster's curse comes to life. The 57 goes around the outside of the carousel. Aaron Smith hugs that wall, and he's going to get around for that second place spot. Now just 0.6 of a second separate him and our race leader, Jeff Wright.
Battle for the lead starting to shave away through the final turn. And it's just a replay of what we saw at Michigan. Jeff Wright has been trying to strategize and pull a loop to win this race. I don't know what else he can do. He's leading laps. He's doing a great job. But I think Aaron Smith is just on another level right now.
Aaron Smith at a road course is always on another level, but what a great competition this will be between these two. Two of the most dominant road course racers that I've seen on the service in these stock cars. Dakota Floyd keeping up right in the picture as well. So hats off to him in that 57 machine, making it do exactly what he wants to lap after lap and keeping himself in contention here. Because you got to remember, as Wright and Smith battle, there's potential for Dakota Floyd to sneak in there and take home a win tonight.
See how much battling they actually do. This top 3 has left the rest of the field by 4.5 seconds. Pass back here with Lucas Lyons, Kevin Orlando into the chicane. 17 car gets around the 27, and he'll move on through the carousel into the 13th position. Looking at Chris Hodges just ahead of him. Adam Baker with no front end, but he's caught back up for a top 10. Levi Cox just ahead of him.
He's going to hold on to this position, try to make something happen here. Good points night can definitely be beneficial tomorrow. No matter where you're at, and follow up a extremely great performance there for the 7 here with another top 10 will be fantastic. And overall, just a great confidence booster, too.
Coming up on 5 laps to go. I know you picked him in the first race. Are you picking him a second time? Aaron Smith is just biding his time right now, waiting for Jeff Wright to make a mistake.
I absolutely will stand by that pick, the 70 machine, the banana. You know, it's, I might be a little bit cheesy picking it. It might be one of those things that a lot of people look at and be like, well, you know, that's an obvious pick. Why would you do that? Be different. You know, I don't want to this time. That 70 is fast. The 48 is just as fast. So I'm just excited to be here and watch this battle progress as we are now 5 laps to go, and it is hovering right around that 0.4 of a second, anywhere down to 0.2 of a second now, as Aaron Smith is finding that pace that he needs.
Really fast through the S's. He got through there a lot better than Jeff Wright. As they get to the top of the hill, though, Jeff Wright's going to pull away. Here we go to the bus stop.
This is the one thing that I've noticed with Aaron Smith is it seems like the braking, he is getting on the brakes a whole lot later than everybody else. Now that time there, it didn't quite help being later into the bus stop as it did inhibit his ability to get the drive off, but he hangs right on that back bumper. I don't know if you just caught that, Bradley, that the bottom of the carousel is going to be dangerous here. We haven't seen a whole lot happen, but the whole right side of the car, once they crest that curbing, does get off the ground.
I'm catching 0.3 right now. I think this time by Jeff Wright, just fast enough. He's going to be a little bit quicker than Aaron Smith. That is so close. We're talking about 1:12, 6:49, 6:19. That is so close.
Our top 2 drivers separated by less than 1/10 of a second. Aaron Smith just a little bit slower that time, but you know, it's got to put a sense of urgency in the seat of the 48 and the 70, even the 57, although he has fallen back a little bit further now, 1.4 seconds behind Aaron Smith at the moment, but you still want to keep yourself close enough in case these two make contact with each other. You can sneak right through with a nicely planned move, get right on by for that race win. But first, Aaron Smith has to catch that back bumper before we see any of that start to unfold.
He's going to stay focused all the way through this. We're coming up on 3 laps to go, and Jeff Wright still holds the lead. And a quick shout out here. We got our race control in the broadcast booth as well. There is a look at Cody Anderson. Benjamin Richards also in there helping him out. There's a look at race control. Richards and Anderson working hard at the beginning of this segment and at round 1. You know, I wouldn't envy their jobs at all, but I don't think I would envy anybody on this racetrack right now. It looks like a handful as these guys continue to put on battle. Smith is all over Jeff Wright.
That almost looked like Smith made contact with the wall there on the entry of the bus stop. I don't think he did, but man, that had to be extremely close on that one. We're talking about maybe millimeters versus inches.
A lot of drivers have backed out of this session. Justin Michael in the 87, he got the win over it. The Michigan International Speedway, he has backed out. 19th position, Chris Simard, Kyle Adams, Nick Hapiak, 10 laps down. Brent Allen, Greg Spiker, Chris French. Here we go into turn 1, 2 to go.
There's a big wiggle out of turn 7 for both of our top contenders here, side by side into turn 1. Aaron Smith on the outside. Can't make it work just yet, but he's going to stay locked to that back bumper of Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright will be able to get a little bit of distance there, about a car length between them coming through the S's. You can see Aaron Smith able to find some extra speed there on the left-hander, and that shift back to the right. Jeff Wright gets the advantage.
About 4 miles to go. Big drive there through the chicane for the 70th Smith. He's going to fill the mirror of Jeff Wright for these final 2 corners. White flag the next time by.
Lap traffic staying way out on the outside of the exit of the carousel, staying completely out of the way. A dive to the outside for the 70 machine. Late on the brakes, gets to the door. Looks to make the over-under. Here it is. This is what he needs on the outside of turn 7. This is going to keep Jeff Wright from getting a good drive off. The 48 spins it off turn 7. The 70 drives it around. And what is Jeff Wright going to do to take it back? White flag in the air.
I think you got to move him.
I don't know, Jeff Wright, he's just a little bit too respectful for that. I'm with you. If you want that position back, you got to give a little bit of a shove somewhere. I would say the carousel probably would be the safest bet for both drivers. You don't want to completely take out your competitor, but I think now that Aaron Smith has some clean air on the front nose, this one is said and done. Jeff Wright now back a half second behind him. And Aaron Smith in the banana through the carousel will hug it to the inside wall. He'll look for a good drive off. And yeah, that's it. I think it is over right here.
Aaron Smith off of the final 2 corners from Watkins Glen. He almost got it done at Michigan, but he will accomplish it and get a victory. 70 of Aaron Smith, the defending champion for the VSPEED Invitational, is going to be victorious in round 1, race 2. Watkins Glen goes to the 70 machine.
And sends it down into the pit of turn 1 for the celebration. Our 1 and 2 position finishers both able to move up 1 spot from the previous race. So this is a tight points battle going into tomorrow, Bradley. I am over the moon excited right now to see what unfolds at Rockingham and Kansas.
Somebody else sending it in there like Jimmy Johnson, bouncing off the wall. I think that was Brian Hennings.
I don't think Jimmy Johnson bounced off the wall. Pretty sure he got stuck in it.
I think we just go look at Brian Hennings.
Full throttle down the front stretch, no brake needed. A little bit of a jump. There it is, bounces back off of it about a good 75 feet there.
Post-race coverage in just a moment. You are watching the VSPEED Invitational. More coverage continues right after this.
Walking and rolling costume started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League and throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to our coverage of the second ever VSPEED Invitational and the second ever race of round number 1. Watkins Glen put on a phenomenal broadcast, as did Michigan. Walk and Roll in costumes, link in the description if you would like to donate directly to them. I know we were just shy of $100 to start this thing out, but it's a great cause, and if you would like to volunteer, it's walkandrollin.org. You can go check them out. Again, link in the description below. We had a great race here tonight. Jeff Wright had the lead coming to the white flag, got a little bit loose, and it was Aaron Smith who found his way to victory lane after starting in the top row. Not the top spot. It was Dakota Floyd with the pole. He'll get a top 3, but it's Jeff Wright in the middle there. A sandwich of runners up for Jeff Wright. He just keeps on keeping on. Then it was Braxton DeWeese in 4th position, Carter Linz, Michael Sturgill, Keith Mayato recovers back up to a top 10, James Lehman with a great finish there in 4th position at Michigan. He'll get 8th position here at Watkins Glen. Levi Cox, 9th spot, and Adam Baker, VSPEED's very own. He will recover without a front end to get a top 10.
Not a bad recovery there for the 7. Love to see that. Christopher Hodges in the 51 takes up the 11th finishing position. Racing Revolution's very own Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27 will take home 12th with the 07 of Jared Skinner in 13th. Ray Massey coming in the 14th position for the 23 machine. Chris Rude up on the box for him. Remember, they talked about not having the highest level of confidence due to a foot injury. I would say a top 15, that's pretty good, pretty dang good here. The 17 of Lucas Lyons finishes out in 15th with the 20 of Hunter Sr. hot on his tail. Then we go back to one lap down. 17th place in the 12 is Caleb Weekly. Brian Hennings also one lap down in the 74, finishing out in 18th. Michigan winner Justin Michael has issues late in the race, finishes 3 laps down in the 19th position. And last but not least, another VSPEED driver, familiar face, the 77, Mr. Sorry, Chris Samard, finishing out in 20th.
21st position will go to Nick Hapiak after starting in the 8th spot. He might be the biggest loss here of this race. He had problems there about midway through. Kyle Adams will finish in 22nd, Britt Allen in 23rd. Then you have the 24th position with Greg. Actually, my timing is scoring a little bit broken here. It's Chris French in 24th on your screen. It's Greg Spiker in 25th. Then you go back here to Chris Braley in 26th position, 27th goes to Matt Gagnon. Teresa Spiker, 28th. Morgan Cook, early exit for him, 32 laps down. Then it's Greg Mall for 30th.
To round out the rest of our field, the 31st position goes to Chris Justice in the 52 machine. Chad Klinger in the 09, unable to recover from the Michigan mishap. 32nd for him in Watkins Glen. Benjamin Richards not actually on the track at all tonight. The 155, he would be scored at the back. However, we had a couple drivers that elected to go ahead and pull it back to the garage before we started the race out. That would be the 67 of Bridger Olson, the 44 of Philip Brewer, and the 84 of Jordan Brockell.
With that, though, Logan, we have a driver to talk to. We've already talked to him once here tonight. I think it's time that you interview the winner here in this second race. We're going to pull Aaron Smith up here in victory lane. Logan Threlkeld has caught up with your race winner.
Well, we talked to him last race. We might as well talk to him again. Aaron Smith, the road course king here tonight. How does it feel, buddy? What were the emotions like coming into the last couple of laps? You were chasing down Jeff Wright. It was a identical moment to the first race of the night where you were coming in trying to chase down the leaders and then get around here in the last lap.
Yeah, I died about 14 times in that restart, and I thought I was playing on house money from that point forward. Started picking cars off. Some of them weren't letting me by. I'll be honest with you. Like I was looking down the inside, and people would just pull over for me, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I got through the field there, got up to Jeff, and yeah, he had me. If he didn't look down to the inside going into the second to the last corner, coming to the white flag, I think he would have had me. Like I don't know why I insist on running toward the outside to try to pass people everywhere I go. It was the issue I had at Michigan a few minutes ago. Like I gunned for the outside, and they usually take it, and that's usually the end of the race for me. But it worked. I got to his outside. He got a little loose there in that last corner, and that was all she wrote.
Well, a P2 in Michigan, a first place finish here at Watkins Glen. You're going into tomorrow with a whole heap of extra bonus points. Laps led as well being a factor for you in the second race. And I can't quite remember the count on the laps led for the last race, but you might have had the most there too. So it's you got a big bump going into tomorrow. How are you feeling about defending your title from the inaugural VSPEED Invitational?
I wish points were being counted tonight, but yeah, we have Rockingham. That's a questionable track for me. I'm either really fast or really slow. I think these cars will make it bearable, so hopefully I'll be toward the front in that one. And yeah, what's the last race? Kansas? I should be okay there too. If we get a long green flag run, I'll be a force to be reckoned with regardless. But we'll have to see. There's been a lot of stuff going on tonight. It's any factors can come up at any time for anybody. So hopefully they keep playing out in my favor, and I'll be back up here tomorrow night.
Fortune favors the bold, my friend. Aaron Smith, congratulations. P2 to start the night and a win to cap it off. You did it once already, but let's hear it again. Who do you have to say thanks to?
Once again, I'd like to thank all the folks at VSPEED for putting this race on again, or putting this event on, rather. Yeah, putting a road course on it again, I guess. But yeah, I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting, all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it tomorrow night and hopefully taking home another win.
Absolutely. Congratulations, buddy. We will see you tomorrow. Get to celebrating, but not too hard. We've got 2 tough tracks on the docket.
10-4, thank you.
Aaron Smith, everybody. Again, P2 to start the night with a race win to end it. And then we're going to send it right back here to Bradley Cooper, who's caught up with our second place finisher. Third place last race, but second place this time, Jeff Wright in the 48 machine.
Yeah, I'm caught up with Jeff Wright. And Jeff, I got to say, how many strategies does it take, man? I know that you've been pulling out everything you got. It's kind of like reaching into the Barney bag at this point. You just don't know what you're going to get. And you come out here with the lead at Michigan. You come out at Watkins Glen with the lead in the last 5 laps. Hey, you had the lead with 2 to go. I don't know what else to tell you other than we're going to Rockingham. What are you going to do there?
Yeah, we'll try to get a win here before this is all said and done. But yeah, I just figured I'd would try something a little bit different again. I was really thinking more people would try to pit before the the pits close before the stage. Just cycle you a little bit further towards the front, have a little bit more clean air on the nose, and it certainly helped. Once I got the lead, some of the guys behind had some trouble. I think Aaron went off track or got shoved off track, and then I was able to build a little bit of a cushion. And despite a slight tire deficit, it wasn't much. The clean air was huge. Like, I've actually, for a while there, I thought, hey, I might be able to do something here. And then as the tires wore, I just wasn't as smooth and precise, I think, as Aaron, some of these other guys, and just kind of lost it there towards the end. So needed one more lap. We're close. I guess we'll have to maybe try to do it tomorrow at Rockingham, maybe Kansas.
It was a tight race. You put on a heck of a show. It came down to that last corner. And Aaron even said that if you didn't make that move to the inside in turn 1, it probably would have been your race. What's your take on that?
No, I don't think so. That car was so out of control there. I was really hanging on by a thread those last 2 laps. I just had no rear tires. I had to protect the line that was going to work for me. If I got on the outside, I was struggling with grip the way it was. So I really felt like that was my only shot. And even when he got to my outside, I still had no drive off the corner. So I put up the best fight I could. Felt good to be able to run up front at Watkins Glen, especially with this being a new car. We're all kind of still trying to learn this, figure out what it is that makes this car go fast. And I think so far I'm learning tonight, clean air is amazing, because I felt pretty competitive there when we're out front. It's just need to be a little bit better with the tire conservation and be a little bit smoother there towards the end. But congrats to Aaron. He's super good road course racer. So the fact that we were able to even kind of be in the conversation with him there was pretty awesome. But even despite his incident there on the restart, he still passed us all. So we got some work to do, but it's been a fun night so far for sure, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Going on to Rockingham, and the Rock is one of those racetracks that maybe is coming back. It's progressively working its way back into the NASCAR schedule, but you can go back to 2003 when this car was running. What do you think will be in store for us when we go back to North Carolina?
I really have no idea. I mean, every time we go to a new track with this new car, what works in other cars might not translate, in this car, but it's typically a pretty single groove track there. Kind of can diamond 1 and 2, and then wrap the bottom. And 3 and 4 has kind of been the traditional way to run Rockingham. I guess we'll find out if that's the way it is tomorrow when we get on track. But I'm gonna guess qualifying going to be super important. This car really is affected by dirty air more than I thought, and going to a line sensitive racetrack like Rockingham, that means qualifying is going to be super important. But after that, really looking forward to see what kind of a show Kansas puts on. So, that being more of a multi-groove racetrack, at least in other cars, we'll see if it is in this car. But yeah, we'll take the finishes tonight. I wish we could have got one spot better here in the Glen, but we'll go to Rockingham, we'll go to Kansas, see what we got.
Jeff Wright, one more question for you. A lot of people support you, and you're going to have a series of a 5th season, I believe, in the Cup Series, and the 3rd season there for the Challenger Series. Anybody you want to shout out that helps make that possible and put this car on the racetrack tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, just want to thank VSPEED for the invitational and everybody helping out. So, the race control, Adam Baker, being owner of VSPEED, all the other guys of VSPEED. So, you, Logan, everybody else behind the scenes that makes this thing happen. And then Walk and Roll and Costumes coming on board tonight, and you guys putting up, some links to benefit them. That's awesome. And so shout out to Walk and Roll and Costumes and Chris Rude and everybody associated with them. They're a great organization. And yeah, just thanks to everybody involved in putting these special events on. This is a lot of fun to come out here and do, and even more awesome to have an awesome broadcast team like VSPEED to be able to watch us back on.
Hope you go back and view it. I know a lot of people in the chat all the way through this race. We look forward to seeing you in just about 24 hours time when we go to Rockingham. Until then, Jeff, take care, buddy.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
And finally, it brings us to our 3rd place finisher. It's Dakota Floyd. And I think you owe this guy a redemption, because you announced him as the champion.
I don't want to hear it.
You announced him as the champion in the Challenger Series. It's been played back several times, on the Juicy Spider edit. So I want you to just go ahead and tell this guy you're sorry for sounding so sad as we talk to our third place finisher.
I have my story and I'm sticking to it. I was going for a dramatic buildup with that, but we don't need any drama here tonight. Dakota Floyd, my friend, my rival on so many racing surfaces. Man, what a drive you put together tonight. Third place, and you kept up with two of the fastest road course racers that I have seen on the service. How does that make you feel? How does your level of confidence come in with a performance like what you had tonight?
It definitely builds a ton of confidence in the car. I was already looking forward to driving this car a bunch, and just seeing how I could actually keep up with those guys. Maybe just fell off a little bit there at the end, but just I had the pace to at least keep them in sight. So my confidence is at an all-time high, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you started on the pole, so you were obviously fast in the qualifying effort. I think you came away with it with maybe a 10th or two between you and second place. I can't remember what the qualifying times were, but it transitioned out here onto the track seamlessly. It didn't seem like the dirty air was affecting you too much at all. You were able to navigate this car with the best of them. So, I hate to reuse a question, but I'm going to have to here. What are you feeling about tomorrow with Rockingham and Kansas on the board?
I'm super excited. Rockingham is easily my favorite oval, or if not second favorite. I love driving there, and I'm looking forward to driving this car there. So I think I have a really strong chance of pulling another good finish there tomorrow. And Kansas is another oval I really enjoy, especially if we get hot temperatures like we did today. It'll be a handful, and you'll be able to see multi-groove racing. So I'm more than excited to see what happens tomorrow.
Well, you're going to go into tomorrow with a little bit of help from some bonus points, looking to dethrone last year's champion, Aaron Smith. Now, do you have a strategy going into it tomorrow, or is it just to drive your heart out and see what you can come away with?
Yeah, I think it's just all dependent on where qualifying lands us in both races. We just got to race our race, and can't really go in there with an expectation, because that's how you set yourself up for failure. So I think I'm just going to go in there and adjust on the fly and see what we can do.
To say, I love that thought process there. That is safe but confident, and that's what we like to see. Dakota Floyd, again, congratulations tonight. I'm amazed at the performance that you had here at the Glen. I know you're a great driver. Again, we're friends in the background, but I consider you a rival on the track. You best me more times than not. I'll give you that. So there's my apology letter for Bradley to keep him happy. But overall, Dakota, again, congratulations. Who do you have to shout out? And also, I know that you're in a couple of the VSPEED leagues. Who are you representing tonight?
I think I'm representing quite a few, because we got Max V showed up with us tonight, and I know VSPEED will be picking those guys up in a couple seasons. So I was definitely representing those guys, and definitely SNR for sure. So I think those are the two groups I'm representing out here tonight. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing for us here, just bringing all of us together, just putting such a melting pot of drivers together, because there's a lot of different talent out here, and it makes it for a ton of fun. So I just want to shout out VSPEED first and foremost for doing this for another year for us here. I know turnout wasn't as big as it was last year, but it's still an absolute blast out here, especially with the level of speed that's on the racetrack. And I got to shout out the teammates. I was running in with the Max V guys, James, Justin, Greg, and we were having a blast tonight. And those guys had a really good race at Michigan, and I know a couple of them didn't walk away with the finish. They wanted to Watkins, but those guys are awesome, and I'm looking forward to racing again tomorrow. And shout out the rest of the field. Everyone raced super respectful, and I know I had that super bad blink at Michigan, and I really, really apologize to everybody that race I ruined. And it was not my intention, but internet bites the dust on me once in a while, so I really apologize to everyone for that. But just thank you to everybody for who made this thing happen. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, we appreciate seeing you out here. We appreciate seeing all the drivers partake in this event. It means a lot to us to see our repeat drivers as well. But Dakota, again, congratulations. Third place on the night here at Watkins Glen, and it was a tough one. Get to celebrating, buddy. We will see you tomorrow when we kick things off at Rockingham.
Absolutely, guys. You guys have a wonderful night.
Well, Bradley, I think that concludes our interviews here for the night. And
Walking and rolling costume started when my son.
Tomorrow.
Well, I think I just hit all the wrong buttons there at the very tail end of this thing. But yeah, it is time to get ready for tomorrow. You can catch us here on VSPEED. Logan Threlkeld, Bradley Cooper will be up in the VSPEED booth. One more time on the right-hand side of your screen, the donate link to Walking and Rolling Costumes if you would like to scan that QR code, or you can go down into the video description. You can catch us here on VSPEED at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We will have the second round, 2 races, Rockingham and Kansas Speedway. Man, I gotta say, even though I was a little bit bummed out, and I think Dakota kind of mentioned it there, we had a little bit lower car count than we wanted, but man, I don't know. I think right now with having the same drivers all the way through this thing, it's been pretty awesome to watch.
It was very interesting last year to divide up the group. I can't remember exactly how many drivers we had. I know it was close to 70.
68.
Yeah, 68 drivers last year in this event. We had to obviously narrow that down to 40 or 43 for the final night. So, you know, it helps to not have to eliminate people. You never want to be that guy to say, hey, you didn't make the cut. So here we are. We've got the same drivers both nights here tonight. I think tomorrow is going to be a big day of redemption for some of these guys. We're going to see a whole lot of just awesome, action-packed driving. Rockingham, like Dakota Floyd said, it's one of the nicer competitive tracks here, especially just for being a 1-mile oval. 125 laps on the board for that one. Then we go right into our 1.5-mile track for this event, Kansas Motor Speedway, with 85 laps. And I love this event so much. It's one of those things that sits in the back of my head. I can't wait for it to come around, and here we are just having a blast with it, Bradley.
It's a variety of every type of racetrack. The brainchild of Adam Baker, Morgan Cook, Logan Threlkeld, Eddie Smith, and everyone in between. I hope you guys are ready for more excitement as we get set to go to North Carolina. But for everybody at VSPEED that helped make this possible, you guys did a lot of legwork. I know Adam Baker did a lot. Logan, you did a ton of work. You guys did a fantastic job. And this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Watkins Glen. We'll see you in just about 24 hours time. And just before that, we'll have coverage of the Super Formula 23 official series, Formula B, for the Sim Racing Nation and the official series on iRacing.com. That'll be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, everybody, stay tracking.